I remember being a kid. I remember it so clearly for a number of years from like 5 to 10, ages 5 to 10. I was lucky enough to get to go with family to the beach, um, the southern part of North Carolina in the Atlantic Ocean, and I would spend hours out at the place where the waves break, and I had this game going in my mind that if I chopped at the waves or kicked at the waves or shoved the waves or flipped around and jumped in the air and landed with my back on the waves just right, I could stop a wave from getting into the shore. And I would do this for hours, just beating myself up against the water. It's exhausting, it's impossible, and so fun for me. This winter was not fun for me. Um, Kevin's dozen, I rang up 12 falls since I saw you last. The first was probably mid-January, about 2 weeks after I saw you last. January, I was Glen Hansard and Marquetta or Glova. I was falling slowly, just 2 falls in January. February and March really started to pick up. I think 3 in February, 2 in March. They were all kind of close together. If I were Michael Stipe and I were on the floor, I would be saying, "Don't fall on me." And April was ridiculous. 5 falls in 6 days. I was Tom Petty. I was not charging. I was free falling. It was no fun. I gave names to to some of the falls. You know, I was keeping a record for you. I had a list. I had the day, I had where in the house or outside I fell, what I fell on, what part of my body I landed on or injured. I had them all on my phone in a note, but I can't access it because I have a startle reflex that's very intense, and I can't remember if I shared this, but if my system is fragile enough and the startle is strong enough, I have kind of an involuntary vocal outburst, usually swearing, and if I'm holding anything, I want to try to throw it. And I was holding my phone. And that shit is very broken. I kept it kind of a funny souvenir. Names of falls. Okay, the one that I did most, I call the 9 o'clock slide. So just imagine you're facing forward, that's 12. If you fell forward, that would be a midnight fall. And this was a 9 o'clock fall, 9 o'clock slide, because as my body is going straight down to the left, my left leg is sort of sliding under my body towards the right. So it really is everything upends, and it really hurts. Terrible impact on the hip. The threshold stumble This is a threshold in a doorway, hallway to bathroom. I cross it multiple times a day. I know it's there. Sometimes in the way my steps are going, I go over. Sometimes I step on it and I choose to, and usually it's fine. One time I did, my system was too fragile. The lightning bolt happened, threw off my balance, and I just went straight down in the hallway. Chest fallen. I'm proud of this name. I'm not proud of this fall. My feet were together. I tried to step forward with one. My toes caught on the floor, so my feet were really stuck together, and I fell all the way down and landed on my chest. It hurt really bad. I can't believe I didn't break something. I was bruised in so many places from that. One fall I called the kickoff face plant. It was Super Bowl Sunday, and I had taken my socks off. I was sitting on the bed watching the pregame, and I'd taken my slippers off, I guess. And all I was trying to do was take 2 steps to the dresser, get something off the dresser, come back to the bed. First step, my foot caught. I tripped and face planted into the dresser with like the knobs and stuff on it. And the momentum was going so strong. I turned and slid down the front of the dresser and landed on my tailbone. In the kitchen, I fell into the stove and the countertop, the metal of the stove grate. I got bruised in so many places on my hands and arms with that one. I tried the shed again. You might remember in Where Not to Fall, I discussed the perils of falling in a shed. I tried it again this winter. Still, it's a hard no. I do not recommend it. I got so hurt. I got splinters this time. And finally, the last one I want to share with you, I call the door jam special. So this is like the frame that goes around the door. And I was standing sort of one step down in front of this, or I took a step down and lost my balance and fell really hard back into this door jamb and sort of slid. I kind of landed and then slid down, and so like hurt one part of my back and then slid down and hurt a different part when I hit. And the part that was most painful was my sacrum. It's like the back of the pelvic bowl, and it hurts so bad. That was a trip to get x-rays. Thankfully, no break there. That really, really messed me up. The chest fall, the shed fall, the door jam fall, all of the 9 o'clock slides, they were like over a week recovery. The door jam one was like a 3-week recovery. So discouraging. Remember the dream the whole time I was in the hospital, and after getting out was to get back to the functionality I was at the end of October of 24. And I start out the first 3 months of 2025 and I fall a dozen times. I'm in what I refer to now as useless PT. This was like the third guy down here to try and not be able to treat me. And I would make some progress. I strengthened pretty easily in PT, but he wasn't interested, and it wasn't. I'll talk more about that shit later, but I would get stronger, but not in the right direction, and it would make my balance weird, leading to more and more falls. Every fall makes me more likely to fall again. So I would get hopeful, thinking, shit, at one point, I was only using a cane outside the house. I had been walker only outside the house, and for 4 days I just used a cane, and then I fell, and I'm still on just a walker only outside the house. I'm still not back to that. All these falls were so discouraging. There was a real feeling of loneliness because I don't want to burden the people close to me. I certainly don't want to talk to people not close to me about how much I'm struggling. And there's a sense of the world shrinking because my ability keeps diminishing. It takes longer and it's harder to do the small things I'm able to do in the house, to cook and clean and parent. Everything takes longer, it's slower, it's harder to physically do the actions, and it feels like even more, it felt like there's this other world happening outside at a different speed. There was so much and is so much suffering going on in the world. Starting at the beginning of this year, and it felt like these catastrophes, I was only aware of them on the other side of bulletproof glass because my world was shrinking into focusing so much energy on trying not to fall again, staying upright, taking all this medication, pain management. Every fall increases the soft symptoms like speech difficulty, swallowing difficulty, manual dexterity difficulty, tightness in my chest. It's like the muscles are sort of squeezing, and I experience a change in temperature or the smell of something cooking, and I become really short of breath. It's hard to get a deep breath. My lungs are fine. It only happens in certain moments and when my system is kind of on high alert. It sucks. Really, really sucks. And everything, all of this happening creates this almost sort of this inward inertia. Like, remember that time you and I went out and we were in the middle of a hurricane and we tried to go out, but the wind was so strong, the energy pushed us back towards the eye. Remember that? this has been like that, except the whole time there have been these undercurrents that kept going, that were going towards something positive. And these little sparks didn't go out. And some good things, really good things happened during this really awful few months in the eye of the hurricane. I remember being there in the ocean and wearing myself out, fighting this unwinnable fight. It's exhausting. You get beat up, but it's so fun. And I went into theater as a career, which is the same thing. But as an adult in a theater career, I found a place I didn't know was there as a kid. It's the place beyond where all the waves are breaking, and you can float, and you can explore, and you can see the horizon. You're not going to be there forever. Something's going to come along. You're going to get shoved back into the waves, go back to the shore, and have to fight through again to get to that place. But once you taste that, once you know it's there, it's easy to keep trying. It's been a really, really hard winter, but I'm not kidding. I'm actually in that place now. I'm past where the waves are breaking right now. This week, today, I am there. And it feels good.